Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. I want to remind you all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course our official website, thestephenknightshow.com. Please go to our YouTube channel, The Stephen Knight Show, and subscribe, like, and comment. And we definitely appreciate you. All right, we have a guest, welcome back, a guest host who's been on before, and we love, Lanier Love, welcome back.
Hi, everybody.
How you been? How you feeling?
I am awesome. I'm awesome. Thank you for having me on again. I can't turn down any kind of good publicity stuff.
All right. Well, tell for people tuning in, maybe for the first time seeing you, tell them about what you do, and because it's a lot.
It's a lot. So I am Lanier Love. I am an actor, a producer, director, content creator, overall badass, you know what I mean? Black girl magic all over, entrepreneur, but I'm still working.
Right. So, look, as long as the money's coming in,
Yes.
Well, for you all at home, Thanksgiving is next week, and we, towards the end of the year, we have 2 shows in November, 2 shows in December. So we won't be on next Monday or the following week, but we're back on the 7th with new shows, and we have some good guests coming up. So definitely tune in. All right. So our question of the day, a lot of the Dr. Fauci and a lot of the scientists and whatnot are making sure everyone's very careful this holiday season because they're hoping the numbers don't continue to go up, which they are in like 45 of the states. So question is, what will you be doing to celebrate, Lanier?
For me, since we were at an impasse in regards to Thanksgiving, it's kind of like, all right, Friendsgiving, the night before, I'm going to be with my brother Chike and my sister Lee. We're going to break bread. That'll be Friendsgiving, Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah.
Normally, for Thanksgiving, it would be my boyfriend and his family and, my family. And it's all together, it's really only 12 of us.
Okay.
But because now his mom is working, we're not doing our regular get together. So I'm just going to go check on my parents.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go to him and hang out with him for the rest of the night. And that'll be my Thanksgiving because after Wednesday, I'm off until that Monday anyway. So
yeah,
I'm going to eat somewhere. And I'm going to eat a lot. I just don't know what it is right now.
I heard that. What about you, Chike?
Like Lanier said, on Wednesday, we'll be having our Friendsgiving, but actual Thanksgiving, I will be by my dolo. I told my family I am not coming to the hotbed of COVID that they're going to have. They're actually doing a Thanksgiving party that I don't want any parts of at all. Love them, but I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah. No super spreader events, huh?
No.
What about you, Naya?
We haven't even talked about it. We haven't even discussed it, actually. And I'm saying
I got much time.
Yeah, me and my fiance, we haven't even had a conversation about it. I think it'll be us. It'll just be us, and if her mom or sisters want to do something together lightly, I think that'd be okay. But we don't have any major plans. I think it's kind of like
who's the cook between you two?
I'm a survivalist, so she's probably more of a cook than I am. She can put things together from, recipes that make sense. Mine is kind of like I might throw some Captain Crunch in there with some, hot dogs or something. You know what I mean?
Better stop.
So I think she has a little more melody to her music.
Well, hopefully so, because it's gonna be interesting meals after the wedding. Well, for me, we do a Friendsgiving every year. Miss Parker hosts it. Now, Miss Parker, I love her to death, but she, when it comes to COVID, I think overall she does the right thing, but everyone doesn't have the same spirit of being safe. So I'm going mask and toe, but if I don't feel comfortable, I'm gonna leave. But I think it's gonna be okay. She said she's gonna have all the windows open or doors and all that, you know what I mean? So we'll see. I'm not trying to catch it.
I know that's right.
Well, tweet us at home and let us know how you be celebrating Thanksgiving this year. Matter of fact, she commented on the question that she said turn up my friends as always. I was like, here we go. All right, so coronavirus update. We've surpassed, unfortunately, 11 million cases in the U.S., with over 246,000 deaths domestically. 100,000 deaths, yes. Now, Trump seems to continue to ignore the pandemic since he's lost the election. He has not said anything about the coronavirus, yet he's been going back and forth on Twitter about him winning the election, which we all know he didn't. And now President-elect Biden, he put together a COVID-19 task force to help bring this thing together. He's trying not to shut down the country. He said it has to go state by state based on where the numbers are, but he knows that in order to get the economy going back, that you have to combat this virus. And so he had a press conference today, him and President-elect, VP President-elect Susan Kamala Harris had a press conference today. But oddly enough, and sadly enough, over 1 million children have tested positive for COVID-19. We've hit that number with the kids. Now, there are two promising vaccines that should be available as early as next month. One is at 90% effective rate, and one is 94.5 effective rate. And let me ask you before we go into a little bit more, will you be, with this vaccine and it being, I know Chika, you probably would have to because of your profession, but are you comfortable taking this vaccine?
Hell to the no. Hell to the no. I'm not comfortable.
Yeah.
I have anxiety about it, but like you said, for work, I have to.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah. What about you, Lanier?
Hell no. I'm good. Thanks. I'm good, love. Enjoy.
What about you, Naya?
I will not be taking it.
Yeah.
I will not be taking it. So whatever they're going to do is what they're going to do, but I will not be taking it.
I know they're very excited about it because it's rare that you have a vaccine this effective, in the 90s. But I don't know. I don't like taking vaccines, period, but I don't know. But singer Jeremiah, he's reportedly battling COVID-19. He's in the ICU. And then gospel singer Fred Hammond, he tested positive as well, is currently on quarantine at home. So with everything we're learning and continue to advance in this, how are you all feeling about COVID-19 and getting past it and staying safe? I'll start with you, Olivia.
So prayers up to Fred Hammond and Jeremiah. And I heard that Jeremiah was responsive.
Good.
I think, I don't know if it was yesterday or today, but 50 Cent posted that he was responsive. So that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Fred Hammond, he's actually in a better situation. He's at home. And he made a statement and he said that he went to an event or somewhere, wherever he went, and he took his mask off.
Yeah.
And he was like, I shouldn't have took my mask off. Wherever it was he went, I shouldn't have took my mask off, because he's like, that's exactly where it happened. Like, he's had no problems thus far, and that's where it happened. So unfortunately, because we don't know what this is and how it works and the dynamics and how many strands. Yeah. It's so difficult to try to figure out how to move. Like, I think I said this to Chike last night. You have to move as if you already have it. You have to move that way. You have to move accordingly and just make sure you are taking care of yourself the best way that you can. And I hope, in regards to this whole vaccine thing, I think the only reason the push to put it out there is because that man in that house wants to have something that he can say, I did this and I did that in regards to saving your life. Yeah. That's all that I think that is, because do you know how long it takes to do those type of trials and stuff like that? And I just heard, it's funny, I watched Law and Order like a nut, and I was watching Law and Order, and we're talking about the old episodes. The episodes they aired back in earlier, like end of 90s, talked about coronavirus.
Wow.
So no, you just got to do what you got to do. I disinfect everything and I wash and clean it. but I'm as if I already got it, because you just don't know. You could walk in the house and something on your packaging and you get it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And now, last week the CDC, they said, initially they were saying that masks are good for helping other people not get it. Like, you wear your mask, you're protecting other people. But now they're saying that it's just effective for you not getting it by you wearing your mask. What do you think the problem is? Because I see a lot of people now, less and less people wearing masks now. What do you think? What is the big deal with people putting on their masks?
What do I think the big deal is?
Mm-hmm.
For people to put on their mask, it's probably more along the lines of people just having something to say no to, something to rebel against. America is a rebellious nation in general.
Yeah.
So that's a part of our culture. People just need to have, not everyone, of course, and I don't want to make light of this in the wrong way, but some people just need that to feel alive, to be able to say that, no, I don't got to do that. I don't got to do what you tell me to do. Is it legal? If it's not illegal, then they think they can get away with anything. And it's merely just a suggestion to try to get everyone better. But I learned that a lot of people have a difficult time with thinking of others. Anyway, this is not something that's natural. That's why a lot of people have a problem with being considerate. So for many people who are not thinking of others, this is the behavior that you can look to expect and see. People who think of others, they probably are wearing masks. They're disinfecting. They're offering you disinfectant. These are people who are actually thinking of. So I think, it's just a rebellious strain of culture that we're facing when it comes to that. And that would be with anything. Yeah. They could say, if it was the opposite, people would be doing it. They'd be fighting that, so just a thing.
Yeah. And Chika, I was watching this nurse. She was saying that she's had patients who literally be in ICU on a ventilator and say they go unconscious. They wake up and they still saying that this is a host. That this now they're actually on the ventilator in the hospital, and they're saying this is a host. What are your thoughts?
I can't speak to the patient's maybe delirium, fever. I don't know. It's a real thing. I've seen it. I don't know why people would think it's a hoax. I've literally saw patients suffocating on ventilators, gasping for air, unconscious. I've seen it with my eyes. It's real. It's not fake. It's not a hoax. And you don't take it seriously until you're put into a situation where you're gasping for your breath.
Yeah.
Have a conversation with someone who has asthma and ask them what it's like when they have an asthma attack. Ask them to explain what it's like having an asthma attack. That's the best that I can explain it.
Most definitely. I saw one woman on the news last week. She lost her husband, her brother, and 2 friends to COVID. And she said that she's just numb right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I can only imagine. Now, how's your sister doing?
Better.
Good.
A lot better.
Good.
She's a lot better. Still in the final, on the fritz of it all, but she's coming back to what we knew, of her. Her health is been building up slowly but surely. She's been on all the right stuff, all the right people around her, taking all the right suggestions, and it's really a relative thing. It really just depends on the individual's body system and God, of course, but it just depends on your process of recovery or otherwise.
Yeah,
it depends on you.
True. Yeah, that's so true. And the best way that I can explain it to someone, it's like your health takes a deep dive.
Yeah.
It's like a U, and you come back. Where you are with your pre-existing condition depends on how you come back from the bottom point in that U. If you're a healthy individual and you catch it, your U won't be so deep. You'll come back up. If you suffering from something, your U could be deep, and depending on what that is, you may not recover.
And that makes a great deal of sense. I don't want to stop your show, Steve, but that makes a great deal of sense. And the president should have been speaking to that idea rather than placing this blanket out there that it's a hoax because it doesn't affect everyone the same. He was to be speaking intelligently to it like that. then people would understand that, oh, this is why some people are not really affected. You know, he just made it like, oh, it's a, you know, so it gets people into this phase of, I don't got to wear a mask and all this craziness.
And this is when he
needed to be clear. He needed to be clear about the types of steroids that was pumped into him too. He had top grade steroids, to the point where he was acting really delirious. If you remember the days after, high grade steroids.
His kids were reportedly concerned about the way he was acting on those steroids. Yeah.
I still don't think he had it, but okay.
A lot of people don't think he had it. Well, of course, speaking of Trump, so he finally publicly acknowledged for the first time that Joe Biden won the election, but that doesn't mean that his stance has changed. Now, he's still falsely claiming that the 2020 presidential election was rigged, despite there being no evidence to support his claims, and that he refuses to concede his loss. He wrote the following message on Twitter acknowledging that Joe Biden won the election before quickly doubling down on the false claims that he actually won instead. He tweeted, he won because the election was rigged. No vote watchers or observers allowed. Vote tabulated by radical left privately owned company, Dominion, with a bad reputation, bomb equipment that couldn't even qualify for Texas, which I won by a lot. The fake and silent media more. He also said he only won in the eyes of the fake news media. I concede nothing. We have a long way to go. This was a rigged election. Rigged election. We will win. Now, they did a timeline of every president has lost in the most recent history, and everyone's conceded. Everyone's conceded.
You forgot to mention his tweet had some what did Twitter do to his tweet?
Twitter, yeah.
They redacted some and just said he won. That
was
it.
Yeah. I mean, and the only time he made I think 2 public appearances. One was on Veterans Day, which he was there for 10 minutes. It's a presidential tribute. I mean, what's the word I'm using? It's a presidential something they do all the time. I can't think of a word. Okay, and then of course he's been golfing. So he's been golfing, but he hasn't been speaking on this virus as the numbers continue to go up. Lanier, what are your thoughts on what's going on with this man? And why are the Republicans in office going with him? They're afraid that they'll lose his support when they are up for re-election. What are your thoughts?
Not only are they afraid that they'll lose the supporters, they are afraid that they'll lose their seats and their positions. And it's not about morality. Mm-hmm. This is all about money. You know what I mean? Like it's like if you watch the 60-minute interview with President Obama that just
watching it.
His book, like he mentions that, and the fact that when Hillary Clinton ran against that man, she called him the next day to actually, like later on that evening, like after midnight, to, all right, I know this is not looking good for me. I concede. Like, I don't understand. No. You know what? I do understand. We're talking about a person who is narcissistic, misogynistic, homophobic, racist. We're talking about a person who will never, ever admit any kind of defeat at all. So there should be no expectation. There's not going to be a peaceful transition. He hasn't even given the Biden
funding.
The funding or the security clearance to start doing what they need to do.
Yeah.
You're supposed to start doing, moving and transferring that power between now and January 20th. And Chike and I had this conversation, you know, the voting part was the easy part. What I'm scared of is what happens between now and January 20th.
Yeah.
And he's already been destructive. And what more he can do between now and that time that is going to possibly cement a lot of stuff, because he's further opened up Pandora's box, because he's not the cause of it. He's one of the situations that comes what America, unfortunately, America is. It is what it is. He's just a product of that.
Yeah.
People don't understand that.
And he's threatening to take troops out of Afghanistan and Iraq, which all the generals say that is a bad idea. That is a bad idea right now. How much damage do you think he can do between now and January?
A whole hell of a lot. He is the leader of the free world. He still has power. Even though this is what they call the lame duck time period, he still has power. Hey, look, listen. He still has keys to the codes that launches those bombs, and he can still use them. Mm-hmm. He's already maneuvering people around, people of power.
Yeah, firing a lot of the
positions. He's playing chess. So there's a theory floating out there. My podcast partner, David Rain, and I were talking about that very thing. And we'll be actually, a small plug, we'll be going live tomorrow talking about all of this stuff on No Lies Detected tomorrow at 6. So if you want to hear more about this, tune in then. But we've been talking about why he's maneuvering people around. And part of the belief is that he's setting things up for his own pardon. So he can get people in place, so he can get pardoned, so he doesn't have to deal with the ramifications of after. And time is of the essence. So that's part of it. The other part of it is, too, he could be moving things around for, excuse my French, the shit show, which will be him not leaving at all. And he may be getting his ducks in a row or his soldiers in a row to be able to combat him leaving out of that office. Who knows? But I will be honest, a small part of me is here for the drama. I want to see them pry him out of that office. I want to see them rip him out of that chair and put them silver bracelets on him. I want to see the National Guard drag him by his heels out of the White House and into a truck. That's what I want to see. I'm here for it. He wants a reality show. He's a reality show king, right? Give it to me.
And they're saying that Nair, that he is preparing to run again in 4 years. And that's another reason why he's trying to come off as powerful and strong. They say he has a history of, like even when he was running the casinos and he was not paying the contractors, he would stay in litigation until people end up just giving up. And that's what he's hoping happens with this, so he can just leave on Inauguration Day and then come back 4 years later, but keeping that support the supporters he has. Do you think once he gets out of office officially will be out of sight, out of mind, or do you think those supporters will continue to support this man?
It's called Trumpism. It's no more Republican Party. It's called Trumpism. And he's already bought a network. He has a television network. So he will be in our lives forever.
Yeah, they said he's good. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Nair?
So get used to it.
Yeah. Who knows what the future holds? But there are ways to stay relevant. I know people do that through media and publicity every day, whether you're the president or otherwise. Naturally, if he doesn't do anything to boost his publicity or popularity, it'll wane over time, but he will always have supporters. Always. Once you got a core group of supporters, you'll always have some fluff around that, some other supporters that are fair weather, but you'll always have that core. He's going to have that core until they leave, until they die, So he'll definitely have those. I don't know how active they will be. I don't know how active these Proud Boys will be and all this nonsense. Some of it will die down, but there's going to be a good group of those people who are still carrying the torch.
Yeah. And Nair, you're talking about the network he's thinking about starting, apparently. Chika, I'm sorry. That he's thinking about starting. It's to rival Fox News because they start turning on him once he started saying the election was flawed.
Him mad at his friends at Fox.
That boy he's not loyal to anybody. You say one thing against him, that's it. That is it. But we'll be speaking of his supporters, things turned violent over the weekend in Washington, D.C. As estimated, 20 people were arrested as violence broke out during the clashes between pro-Trump supporters and anti-Trump supporters. Things escalated after Trump rode through MAGA rally of his supporters on his way to the golf course. Now, 1,000 Trump supporters took to the streets of Washington, D.C. to protest supposed voter fraud in 2020 presidential election, and things quickly turned violent. At least 20 people, I said, were arrested for a variety of charges, including assault, weapons possession. There were also one stabbing reported, 2 police were injured, and several firearms were recovered by authorities. Now, Trump supporters' daytime rally, which was called a variety of names, including Million Maga March, Stop the Steal of March for Trump, and they started at Freedom Plaza. As parts of the group then marched to the Capitol. The crowd was largely protesting false claims, again, the voter fraud. So things went from verbal to physical, and ended up going over towards Black Lives Matter Plaza, and we had all this unrest. Do you think we'll see more of this from his supporters after Biden is in office, Lanier?
Yes. To Nair's point, what's going to happen is once Joe Biden and crew are in office, they'll be around, but it'll start to wane. Not that it's going to go away, but it'll start to wane because their leader is not in a position how he was before. Mm-hmm. He'll be somewhere else, but it won't be how it was before with him being in the White House. So, I mean, I found out about what happened over the weekend, and initially I didn't understand it. I just saw, because the first thing that was put out there that I saw was people who are anti-Trump were beating up people who are for Trump. But then I found out what the context was, and that these Trump supporters were going in, they tore down Black Lives Matter, and they tore down, the LGBT stuff. They tore down missing Black and brown people sign. Like, they were being destructive, and they got handled. Mm-hmm. And a lot, God bless this younger generation for going out there and laying hands, because that's what I saw the most of. You want to fight, you want to go out there, you want to act a fool. It's some youngins out here that's going to give you the business. We're going to help you by laying these hands on you, so you know that we about our business. But it'll wane a little bit, but it's still there. He has, what do you call it? He's awoken a sleeping giant, because outside of whoever else they were looking towards, to have this man on center stage, that's a bigger scope like that. Yeah, I hate to say it, but it's really like Hitler. So
yeah. Chika, is there anything that Biden can do to, one, bring the country together, and two, get his supporters' attention to help us unify the country? Do you think there's anything he can do?
I don't know. I would like to think so, but what that would be, I don't know. In my lifetime, and the things that I've seen, things like 9/11, things like earthquakes. I can remember the mild eruption of Mount St. Helens. Different catastrophes that have happened in this country. Natural disasters tend to bring people together. Yeah. We have a natural disaster now with the pandemic, and it's not bringing us together. Right. Actually, the design of it is tearing us apart. And the part of me is thinking, in a biblical sense, maybe we're not supposed to be together right now. Maybe there's a weaning that's happening, and it needs to be this way for the time being. It's just my thought. Yeah. I thought that it was ironic that, all that stuff was going on down in DC, and there was no pepper spray. There were no rubber bullets. And there was a lot more violence this time around than it was before. But no one got hurt in that way. Yeah. Interesting.
Very interesting.
Things to think about.
Yeah. Say that.
And what are your thoughts, Nair? What do you think? Because President Obama said in his interview with 60 Minutes that the fact that 71 million people voted for Trump, it shows how divided our country is. What can be done to bring it together? Can anything be done? because Trump got 8 million more votes this election cycle than he did the last election cycle.
Yeah, I think Chike poses an interesting perspective when he said religion, or brought it to this religious perspective. I think if you look back in history and you look at the greatest salesman on earth, Jesus, if you look and see, was he able to bring everyone together? No.
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
If you look back to one of the, like I said, greatest salesmen on earth, at a point in time, which would have been Jesus, was he able to bring everyone together?
Nope.
And ultimately, no. Not one man has that much power. You can't, I would say that this would be different because you would have separation of state and religion, but we obviously know that's not the case, and we even hear it out of Biden's mouth. So if you look at it from a religious perspective, which he's trying to approach this through the same values that any other great man used, of love, unity, so forth, you preach that same message, that seems to divide people. That message seems to divide people. And like the thing that I find so interesting to Chike's perspective is it divides people, but that could be a good thing. It could be the people who are supposed to be over here going over here,
Mm-hmm.
people who appreciate this message are on the right side. So that may be, we may not need to be unified in the way that everyone romantically thinks we should. Maybe, like Chike said, the divisiveness is important. Maybe that's more of the value. Maybe we need to find who our people are and rally up with them. So is there anything he can do? I think he can continue to work forward through those values that he's preaching and see where he goes. If you stay, it's like that person in school that you always see that's always optimistic, always great attitude. Like, how are you like that? But no one really, people might not like them in the beginning, but eventually you say that person really is genuine. That's just that person. They're a good person and they do good work. And that person doesn't care about anything else. I think that's the most progressive way to move. You just work and try to do things the right way and for the good of as many people you can resonate with.
Yeah. Well, continue to pray for our country. Pray for our country. Well, let's take a quick break. A few more hot topics right back after this.